Right, are we getting recorded?
We are.
I feel like I look quite... There's quite a bit of headroom today, isn't there? Should I tidy that up? Tighten it
You
up?
want to get some leg into the action?
That's why we get the views, man. It's that sweet sex appeal. Yeah. Alright. Mark, here we are again.
Drinking some stout.
Drinking some stout. Why are we drinking stout?
You said because Ireland.
Irish stuff. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day is the day you drink the black liquid, and also what a weekend for them.
They won some rugby.
They won a lot of rugby.
They did.
A whole series of games.
They had
in a Slamic fashion.
They did. Slamtastic.
Yeah. I can't think of any other puns that revolve around the word slam. Slamtastic, slamerific. I'm really struggling here. Save me, please. No, you're not going to save me?
No, my brain doesn't move that fast.
Anyway, this is a podcast, isn't it?
This is that it is available
on
certain podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. I'm getting used to this.
You did all of them. There was nothing for me to do
I'm
there.
getting decent at this.
That was impressive.
Cheers to all the people who are following. I mean, we don't really mind. You watch it on YouTube, you listen to it on podcasting platforms. Yeah. Take your pick. It's up to you.
However you ingest this, we appreciate it. We do appreciate it. But if you are listening on, we never asked for this, but I always mean to. But for some reason, it's really just occurring to me now. If you're listening to it, leave us a rating and a review or whatever. I think
can't they just listen without being asked to do some extra homework?
If you could, you'd be doing us a favour.
Okay.
For Tony.
For Tony.
It's for you too, you sack.
Okay. I've never once left a review of a podcast or anything in my life.
Yeah, but you don't have a soul. Okay. You're a cold, dead man on the inside.
This
okay?
is true.
Okay.
Except when I'm watching rugby.
Exactly.
And then I'm a happy man for that brief 80 minutes.
When he's not in front of a TV screen or in front of a whiteboard or watching rugby.
I'm just a sad sack.
It's just a sack of...
Big bag of negativity.
Yeah. Just comes in and goes, Tones, how you going, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've never really gone into the process of what we do before these podcasts. There isn't a lot to it, really.
Not really.
You come in and demand a coffee.
I do. I drive my car here. I expect to have coffee waiting for me. Well, to be fair, the last few weeks I've been making my own coffee.
Outrageous.
But you were getting the camera and stuff set up, so I can't complain.
Yeah, exactly. I made your coffee today.
You did?
Yeah, because you do an absolute shit show of your coffee.
I do. I do not have a coffee machine at my house.
Yeah, Anyway, there's frothing of milk. You don't do it. You just...
That's right.
You're like, there's caffeine.
Yeah. There's
some sort of dairy product in it.
Basically.
Exactly.
It's the bare bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rugby! Rugby! And what a weekend of rugby.
You watched some rugby at the weekend? We had all the games on our Sunday over here in New Zealand. It started at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, so bad.
It was Super Saturday over for the people in Europe.
It was like super shit morning on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was not a shit morning. It's a great little Sunday morning, but it starts at... What time did it start? 1 a.m.?
1:30 for the Scotland and Italian game.
I really didn't read my schedules very well. Okay, this is what happened. I didn't think it was starting at 1.
Okay.
I set my alarm for 3.
Okay.
But I set my alarm for 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
That's probably the wrong time.
So I woke up... It's 6:30 in the morning. Okay.
You think I had a good sleep?
Exactly.
I'm really feeling refreshed.
Yeah, I feel great. I was like, because I woke up and the kind of birds were tweeting and the sun was kind of rising, and I thought I was meant to be feeling awful right now because I had too much to drink the night before. All these stories.
Every Tony story starts with night before.
But then I was like, oh shit, I can't look on anything. I can't.
Yeah, no Twitter, no Facebook.
Twitter, no nothing, no Facebook. And by the way, it's actually Facebook is pretty safe. Six Nations stuff is pretty good as if you're a New Zealander because there's not a lot of shit been
Although I noticed that it's on the front page of stuff.
This is what got me.
Really?
Mother trucker. Because I was watching... Because it is actually a bit of a task watching almost 6 hours worth of rugby without checking any social media. Yeah. And I was like, stuff won't have it. They'll have some sort of story about someone rating or something like that. Yeah. And... I looked on it and it was like Ireland clinch the Six Nations, and I was like,
"Oh, you got spoiled."
I got spoiled. So the other two didn't get spoiled for me, but that one,
the big one did.
Got spoiled for me, and I had to, and it really takes the fun out
of it.
Yeah, it takes the fun out of it.
Oh, that's a pity.
But I still enjoyed all 3 games, and I think there was kind of a bit of a theme throughout all the games that kind of tied them all together. All 3 games had definitive favourites.
Yeah. All the away teams went out to an early lead.
Yeah, that's right. And all 3 of the teams that weren't, were up against it, made a pretty good account of themselves. And I thought all 3 teams that were favourites actually made it pretty hard for themselves at certain times. And where should we start? The Welsh, the French, or
I think we go with the big one.
Do we go straight off the bat? We go the Irish.
That's what the people are here to talk about.
Well done, everybody. Slanja. We're on the stouts.
The slam.
They're not quite Guinnesses. This is like a garage project Irish rip-off of a stout. And what have you got? You've got... Read what yours is called, because it says...
It's called Ice Stout Affogato Imperial Stout brewed with lactose, coffee, and vanilla. Why the hell does it have lactose? Because in case you're lactose intolerant?
Yeah, just has to tell you it has lactose in it.
Okay.
I thought that...
10% alcohol.
Oh, what is it? Oh, yeah. Whoa, what's yours? What's mine then? Has it got a bit of a hit to it?
No, it tastes like a stout.
This is only 5%.
I'm the one driving home later.
Jeepers, you should have swapped. But wow, they did it. They got it done, and I think obviously there were a number of storylines going into it. A huge amount of storylines going into it. But
you had a different experience because you were spoiled to it. But that game was on a knife edge for ages. Like England go into this one on the back of a bit of a hiding last week, and I mean a lot of the Irish fans said, "Look, we didn't take anything for granted. We knew England were going to be better than last week." Yeah. But ultimately, you still thought. Yeah, even if England play better, they're not going to win in Dublin.
The weight of expectation on that Irish team.
Massive.
The anticipation you could feel in that crowd in St. Paddy's Day weekend.
Yeah.
It's only their 4th Grand Slam in history.
First chance to do it in Dublin.
Yeah, and absolutely, if they lost, would have they lost? No, they still would have been able to win.
Depending on the result, if they got a losing bonus point, I think they still would have won anyway. But still, they wanted to finish with a slam.
Absolutely. It would have felt pretty
been
hollow if they managed to get the Six Nations on the loss.
Yeah.
So it had everything going into it, and I think for the first time in a long time since we saw the Irish come to New Zealand in that first Test match, they had an off period.
They did.
They
just looked a little bit off. Passes that would normally get made were going to ground.
And the thing you got to worry about is if you have, as they saw against the All Blacks in Eden Park, if you give the French or you give the All Blacks 2 quarterfinal teams 10 minutes, they could put 15, 18 points on you.
They could.
That was purely from the weight of expectations.
Right.
Just the sense of occasion kind of, I think, got to them. But full credit to them. They pulled it out of the fire. They came right towards the end of the game. Well,
class showed across the 80 minutes, right?
Absolutely. Well, the last 20 minutes, I thought it was incredible. We'll get into the red card, obviously, but, it was 10. The English managed to get within 1 point with only 20 minutes to go after they had a red card.
That's right, yeah.
That was incredible. So,
you just mentioned the whole quarterfinals thing.
Yeah.
Before I forget, going into that kind of pressure cooker environment, 6 months down the track, they're going to be so much better for having had that game.
100%.
Like, you would rather have that game now and have put yourself, this is the closest thing you'll replicate to that same pressure of a World Cup quarterfinal.
Yeah.
And the fact that they still managed to get through it, they've gone through that. Like, when they get to the World Cup, obviously you still got to get out your pool, but going into a quarterfinal, assuming they get there, which they should, they'll be a much better side for having been there and kind of done that, performed in that pressure cooker, albeit a bit rusty or a bit, not at 100%, but I can't imagine they'll be worse for having it. I think they're going to be much better.
I think that's a really good point. And that is about as close as you're going to get, but it's still not it.
No.
Just the mere fact they've never got out of the quarters, the fact that they're the best team in the world right now, the fact they've got these monkeys on their back, the fact that they're against the 2 best attacking, threatening teams in the world in that quarterfinal, it's still a mountainous thing to overcome. But they're still, for my money, the favourites to win the World Cup. Wow. But it's just horrible the way it's set up. I was thinking about it today, we keep going on about it. We won't stop going on about it. For me, all 3 of those results suck. I actually don't want to see the host go out at a quarterfinal. I don't want to see Ireland go out in a quarterfinal to us. And by God, I certainly don't want to see us go out. So all three of those results, which one of them is definitive unless Italy somehow get into that, that game, I'm going to be gutted about. Like, there's sadness around
already.
All of it.
Hasn't even happened yet.
I've got grief!
You're already feeling the grief.
Yeah, it's real dog's balls.
That is going to suck.
So, but what about England? And Tim, what did we learn about England?
I mean, they showed some character, didn't they? Like, in a match where they were largely written off and they did get a red card, they still managed to stick at it for about an hour.
Yeah.
They rattled the Irish guys. They weren't perfect by any means, but, geez, they were night and day difference from the team that played a week before.
100%. I think... and then we were talking about last week, just saying this week is going to be all about performance for them. Just seeing where their heads are at, where their character is at. I think, obviously, that was a horrific result at Twickenham that is going to live long in the memory of all of those players. But I think they're better for it.
For sure.
I think they'll come together closer as a team. I think there's still lots they can gain out of that. The fact that, you talk to 10 out of 10 pundits, they wouldn't have given them a chance. So they bounced back in it, and they were right in it with the world's best team when the world's best team had everything to play for. Even when they were down to 14 men. So it was about as good as you could. Well, you'd love a win, obviously, if you're an English fan, but
I don't think any English fans would be looking at that one and being angry at the side or disappointed. Obviously, you're never going to be happy with a loss, but I think they did better than many people gave them credit for. So
did better than I thought they would.
Yeah.
It was just one of those funny games, like with all that pressure, all that intensity. It kind of felt like watching the All Blacks in a semi-final or a quarter-final. You're just like, every part of your body is tense. Like it would have been a hard watch if you're an Irish fan.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Really. But I don't know. The red card's obviously maybe the biggest talking point, but I don't want to focus too much about that. I mean, I want to talk about like Dan Sheehan, the hooker. He went off with a knock in the Scotland game, like really early on.
It was a hooker hat trick, wasn't it?
He got two and Herring got one.
Yeah.
Like his ability to just put on the afterburners is amazing.
Yeah, that try that Van der Fleer set up for him, that was class, man.
Yeah,
but just that really nice. I love those sort of plays that Van der Fleer drags the defenders out wide, opens that gap. The halfback is just a little bit lazy on it, and
most hookers who hit that gap aren't going to have the gas to go all the way, but he just bloody does.
He does. But
he's beauty.
But a Dan Cole's
maybe,
Dan Cole's had some.
He's a real good feat. So no, I do quite like watching him play. Ryan Baird, the big lock, who's their third choice lock, came in after their first two guys.
Dynamic fellow, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. He's one of those weird guys. He's almost 2 meters tall. And usually those guys can't get low enough to really kind of have oomph in their carries, but he really does.
And he was dynamic at the line-out as well.
Yeah, won a few line-outs, won a turnover. He was everything.
Looked every inch an international player, didn't he?
Yeah, which is great for Ireland as well.
And he's third.
He's their third choice after Byrne and Henderson both got injured. So
son of a bitch, Ireland.
It's great.
It is great, but I was such an asshole. Like, I think when another team has great, like when you told me DuPont was only 24 or something, I was like,
we still got him for another almost 10 years.
Yeah, like dealing with these players, which I get, but it's great for international rugby. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the red card, you can't avoid it. What was your take on it? Because I don't think in any of your videos have you just said, I could have gone either way, right call, wrong call, yellow card, no card, penalty.
What I said was when I initially watched it was like, firstly, that's pretty weird. Like that kind of situation where a ball's been knocked on and a dude is bending over to pick it up and clatters into a guy.
There's nothing weird about a dude bending over, and you need to be a little bit more...
Okay, be a bit more open-minded. Sorry,
a little more inclusive in your language, please.
Like, most of the red cards we see these days, which aren't, like, overt, like, punching to the face, it's the ball carrier is carrying high and the tackle is high, he's trying to stop the offload, he gets his head on head or he gets shoulder on head, and he's not bent. And you can look at it and go, dude, you needed to bend, you need to get lower.
Yeah.
But this one is just a real kind of freak incident, and it's such a weird one because... I swear with every red card, you can put...
Are you praying?
You can put...
What are we doing with that?
You can put 100 people to see that red card and 50 of them will go, fuck that guy tried to kill him. And the other 50 will go, that was 100% an accident.
I think the slow-mo looks...
The slow-mo looks god awful.
Look, when you look at the slow-mo...
You're like he's trying to kill him.
He's just coming in and going, bang, take him. But yeah, I think in terms of my take on it, I think technically correct, but also very sad and
That's
unfortunate.
pretty much what I said. Like technically correct, like he got him in the head. But he's realistically he's bracing for a moment he doesn't know is about to happen.
They talked about he had line of sight the whole time, but he wasn't going into it thinking he was going into a tackle or a clean out. He was going into it looking for a loose ball.
Yeah.
He was fractionally late to it because the loose ball, and by the time that he realised the other player had collected it, he was like, we are going to connect here. I'm going to protect myself.
Yeah. Which is just human instinct.
He did not have the amount of time to get down. So, what was he? Was he just meant to take it in the balls?
People have said, if he had time to do this, he had time to get out the way.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think so.
No,
We're talking a fraction of a second.
And you're going against every innate human instinct as well to protect your body and your organs rather than just go, okay, just take me straight in the nuts. Because they would have take it for the team, Stuart. If he just got headbutted straight to the balls, then that's head contact. Yeah, no. If he reels away and he's just taking a schlong straight to the nose because he's face up into it, bang. Yeah. Would that be a red card? And then Stewart's rolling around on the ground with a serious low blow.
Yeah.
Is that a red card?
But like I said, I've literally seen people saying, "Well, look, he's going into it, trying to take his head off."
Bullshit.
I don't think so.
But it's really...
He's definitely trying to, even if he's not going to get the ball, he's definitely trying to close the space, which I think is his job. I mean, if you wanted to be really harsh on him, you could say maybe he needs to take more care. It's like when two guys go for a high ball, right? If you think you're not going to get there first, you need to kind of back off. This is me being real hard, because honestly, it's a split second where he's just
thinking, ball, oh man. Oh. Yeah. I think, for me personally, I think it was interesting when Jakob Piper said he was in the current climate.
Yeah.
I was like, geez.
He's basically saying, I don't want to do this.
Well, in the current climate, he's like, oh, geez. Wait, where's Auckland?
Last time I left your house, last week, there was a guy doing donuts down
the street. They were right at the end here, so they do like to do stuff like that. But Jakob Piper was
he seemed reluctant.
He's almost playing politics on it.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you wanted to flip it on its head and I wanted to play devil's advocate, you could say, well, geez, his head is so low. You know what I mean? Usually these guys get some kind of mitigation for hitting guys if the ball carrier is really low.
It does feel odd though, doesn't it? That's a World Cup final that's still meant to be a red, right? Yeah. And if that decides a world champion,
that's going to be
and there's no intent. When we were growing up, the second All Black ever to get a red card after... Who was the first? It was Pine Tree Meads back in the freaking 50s. Yeah. And then Sonny Bill Williams got one.
And the Lions tour.
Yeah. And it was red card. And then freaking the Barrett has got one a 10 times since then. So they're far more frequent. Yeah, but it was meant to be you were doing something wildly malicious with intent. So I think there needs to be a non-intentional red card or something.
Well,
20 minutes.
People aren't going to like this.
I'm going to like it, man.
That's kind of what Super Rugby is doing now.
Yeah, and that's the way forward because Southern Hemisphere just knows what to do, guys. Just trust us with the game.
Firstly, don't stop watching just because we're going to talk about Super Rugby and the way we do the red cards thing, but they do the yellow card now. The ref looks at an event and he has to make a call. Is that a blatant red card, like you've just punched a guy in the face?
Yeah, exactly.
Or swing an arm kind of thing?
A teabag.
Or is it
if you teabagged a guy, do you think you get a red card?
I think you would.
If you dropped your...
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Dropped your trowel and your undies and dropped your nuts into his mouth.
Unsportsmanlike. But the ref has to decide, is it a blatant red or is it at least a yellow?
Yeah.
If it's at least a yellow, then he sends him off and the TMO has then got that time without the pressure of 50,000 people watching.
I was about to say to you, why are you explaining this to me? I know the rules.
People don't know. That's what I just people don't know.
That's what I just thought. Which I like it, and it's really snappy. It's yellow.
It's a yellow guy, and the thing I do like about that is no human in the world is not affected by that kind of pressure. I don't even like fucking parallel parking my car if someone's waiting for me.
Why you don't like parallel parking your car? It's because you have the ugliest car in the entire world, and people point at you and go, "What are you doing with that car?"
But just try to make a decision with 50,000 people watching you is horrible. So at least if the TMO gets a chance to do that for 8 minutes on his own little booth.
Imagine what it would be like being a porn star struggling to get wood on a big set. That Would that pressure be comparable
Only
to...
a few people up to the challenge.
Yeah. Would that be comparable to the pressure that Jaco Piper was feeling in that moment?
I think so.
Exactly.
Maybe even worse.
As long as somebody gets off.
Basically.
You know.
If that was being ruled under the current Super Rugby rules,
yes,
Jaco Piper just looks at it and goes, "Ooh, that's at least a yellow."
Yeah,
he sends him off. Game continues.
You deal with the Joy.
The TMO, Joy Neville's got 8 minutes to decide, without the pressure of everybody waiting for the game to continue, whether it's worthy of a red or whether it's just going to stay yellow.
There wasn't a lot of debate there. They seemed to go pretty straight down the line. They were like, okay, the one line that I've never really heard before was this, like, he had line of sight. It's like, you have a line of sight when you have a car accident a lot of the time.
They do say it sometimes
you can't do anything. And
two guys are coming in for a tackle. They do say, like, you've got a line of sight. It's not like somebody just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, sometimes tackles can come from, like, last-minute movements and stuff.
What is the end score of that? I'm going to ask you an impossible question. You ready for my impossible question? You already know what it's going to be because I already started it. What's the score if Stewart stays on the field?
I mean, Ireland still win.
Yeah, I think so.
By more than a try, but maybe not 29-16.
But, you know...
29-20.
And at the end of the day as well, like, I was really impressed with the way the Irish knew that they weren't playing at their peak. They still managed to not lose their composure completely shit the bed, start forcing passes, start looking for miracle plays. And they just stayed at it until things came right. And things did come right. You know, like, they played well. They got it done. Mac Hansen played well again.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's class. He's class.
He's like Hansen.
He's got the chopper Reed mustache. He's a really Aussie Irishman, isn't he?
I'm trying not to swear at you because I don't want to freaking beat myself. Yeah, you've done one. It's okay.
One or two, yeah.
Yeah, right. I didn't bleep the last ones. I edited it and then I was like, I forgot to do that.
You'll bleep these ones.
Yeah, I'll bleep them good, I will.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, that was... so, full credit to Ireland. Do they win the World Cup? That's what the Irish want to know.
If they can get past the quarterfinal, yeah.
If they can get past...
That's the mental thing. If they win that game, then everything else is piss easy.
And they're in a... Getting out of that pool is a mammoth task.
Yeah.
So I can so see Scotland sneaking a win against either South Africa or Scotland, South Africa or Ireland. Like, I would be pissed if I was South Africa in that pool. That's a tough.
They'll back themselves. You got to back yourself. It's a World Cup. You got to beat everybody.
I've never seen a South African think they're not going to win a game.
For sure.
Yeah, they're pretty confident.
That's what they should be. Got a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So yeah, 29-6 Grand Slam, and the Irish under-20s won their Grand Slam as well. So pretty double whammy.
Well,
they had a red card in that game as well. Did you know?
No, I didn't know.
Their red card was like
I'm so joyous about this.
If the other red card was at least debatable, like even if you have a strong opinion one way or the other, you can at least acknowledge how other people might have been able to see it differently, maybe. But the England-Ireland under-20s game, like I actually missed that. I was watching the highlights. And then there was like a line break, and then they blew it up, and then I saw the ref go, it's a red card because he went 360 degrees. And I was like, 360 degrees? What the hell?
What?
So I went back and watched it. He literally hit a guy, and the guy did a 360 degree flip. He kind of flipped him over. And he literally
so he lifted him, and
he was going quick, so the momentum carried him, but still, he went literally 360 degrees. Ooh. I thought, this ref, Marius van der Vestes, just doesn't know his degrees. He's getting them mixed up. You mean 180, mate? No, he meant 360.
All the way over.
Literally, yeah.
It sounds pretty awesome.
It was pretty crazy. Genuine red card, that one. Like
genuine article.
Not much to debate about that one.
All right, okay. All right. Well
done, Ireland.
What do you think about, before we just, on the red card thing, you know what I like the idea of? The idea of in all red cards being this malicious or non-malicious, 20 minutes and the player can't come back on, but you can replace them. Just so the bloody spectacle of the game. 20 minutes and also up your fines and up your bans. Like make it hurt in some other way, but just don't hurt the game that I'm watching too much.
Can I bring in ice hockey for a second?
Man, you can slap that puck all around this bitch.
Ice hockey used to have brawls for days.
I love them.
So they still have fights, but they used to have.
I just want to talk about your jersey almost then.
They used to have bench clearing brawls. There's footage of like the players get into the stands and fighting with the crowd like it's proper Canadian. Like they used to have fights, and then as they were trying to kind of market the game to a bigger audience who weren't just like Canadians who like to fight, they were like, we maybe need to like tone back the fighting and up the skill stuff. So what they did was fine the bejesus out of anyone who jumps into a fight outside of the one-on-one.
Right.
You get a huge ban and you get a massive fine. It's literally your paycheck is gone burger.
Yeah.
And well, lo and behold, it changed behaviour big time.
It's like in Singapore, nobody litters over
Nobody
there.
litters because you don't want to pay a massive fine. So we all talk about the bans and how long they should get and whatnot. If you hit guys in the pocket, they are going to change their behaviour because nobody wants to, you know, tell their significant other, oh shit, I'm not going to get paid for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh no, I think it's not a bad shout. To be fair, but they don't get like because they're very much about the one-on-one, isn't it?
They still do, but every year there's fewer and fewer fights because the rules now are just.
And there are guys just on the team. There used to be guys just on the team to fight.
Yeah.
And they'd find the other guy and they'd be like, I watched some of them, I think it was like a Penguins behind the scenes series or something like that. And they were just following one of the big men and he was just like, it's training. I just know I have to, training sometimes I know I'm going to have a fight.
Yeah.
And then like he had him mic'd up and he was on the ice and he'd knock into the other guy and the other guy would be like, you want to go now? And he'd be like, we'll let it wait. And they were just like talking to each other like... And they're like, "You're now." He's like, "Yeah, okay."
Let's get into it.
And they get into it.
It's part of the job.
Yeah, and then they sort of do a little like nod into each other, go, "Yeah,
okay."
And they're like, a little bit of exactly. Yeah. And then they both got a power play, and then it's and the game's opened up.
Bit of 4-on-4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but
sounds like my sex life in my early 20s.
With the 4-on-4, with the 20-minute red card.
Yes.
I do think, again, to harken back to Super Rugby, I do think they've made a good call because they still have 20-minute red cards if it is like the unintentional stuff. Yeah. If it's the shoulder, you didn't get low enough, accidental, that stuff is still 20-minute red card. That player's gone, can't return, but then can be replaced.
But if you're coming in with
they still have full red cards for guys who are blatantly, deliberately
coming in with a swinging arm.
Yeah, so basically against the whole argument of, oh, well, you can just go in and try and kill Antoine Dupont, and then they lose Dupont, and then you lose a guy. It's worthwhile. That's kind of.
Do you think that's what Tana and Kiwi Mialama did to O'Driscoll back in the day?
I don't think so.
There's a lot of Irish people watching that would disagree with you, I'd say.
Fucking Tana. Dirty.
Oh, pardon me. All right.
Well done, Ireland.
Well done.
Honestly, that's a big achievement.
I was really happy about it.
I think likewise.
I was kind of gutted. I got ruined it though.
Yeah, for sure. No, that game was on a knife edge. It was interesting. It was just fascinating to watch Ireland deal with that pressure and then come through it.
Yeah, and they did bloody well.
Yeah, for France with their Grand Slam last year and for Ireland this year, I think both have put themselves in a much better position just mentally to know we can do this.
Yeah. So man, France are just. That is such an interesting packet of beans.
Well, do you want to go France? Because France beat Wales 41-28.
Should we go France? Or what is the other game? Italy, Scotland. Both interesting games.
Yeah.
But you lead the way.
I think France, interestingly, seemingly have been kind of getting better and better. I kind of wish the last game had been France-Ireland.
Yeah.
Because, notice, France in their first game against Italy were a bit lackluster, and they've been kind of building. A lot of their guys had their best game against Wales, and Wales played really well.
That was their best game of the tournament.
Wales were also totally written off, so Wales gave a decent account of themselves. But France,
I could listen to that commentator all day.
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
I don't know.
He's hilarious.
Like, Gatlin's guns are coming back! I love it.
We get the international commentary. If you don't know who it is, the YouTube highlights on the Six Nations YouTube channel. That's the commentary we get.
He comes up with a gold line every time there's a try.
He's got some nuggets.
Yeah, he is so good. If anybody can tweet him just saying that Tony thinks you're cool, you can feel free to do that.
He'll be honoured.
I'm sure he would be. The world's 900th and 99th biggest rugby YouTube channel.
There you go.
You're cool. Yep. What did I think of that game? The French had this amazing ability to create these just beautiful, exquisite, wonderful looking shots.
They're such an easy team on the eye.
Watching Intermac, that was the best I've seen him play.
Tasty, best game of this tournament.
That Intermac break where he just made bigger. It made him look like a bigger, just looked like a schoolboy. He got rid of him, then he just sort of glided through the gap, just looked like everyone else was stuck in the mud. Did a lovely Dupont, and then
Dupont passes 50 metres or whatever.
And then Pino just, lovely finish. So that was just like, whew,
tasty.
Very nice.
They're a very easy team on the eye, aren't they?
So they did that, and they had a few of those tries, but they only played like that for, I reckon, 22 minutes of the game, and the rest of it was
just kind of
tentative. And then once they were like, we are well in the farm now, that was, I don't know if that was like a Mexican or a French person. They eventually they took their foot off the gas, and the Welsh, to their credit, didn't drop their heads, came back into it, and like 21-31 with not too long to with 10 to go, like freaking,
who knows, one more try,
we're back into this. And I know that the French got another try, and then Dyer gets a nice little try there. And they didn't seem like there wasn't an 80-minute performance, so it was still very French
for sure.
Like
within itself,
I think they had an 80-minute performance against the English.
Right.
They just stayed on the gas the whole time. They were not going to give them an inch of twicking them. They were ruthless, but they lacked that ruthlessness against the Welsh.
Do you think if that game is their Grand Slam game, that they keep the pressure off 80 minutes?
Who knows what the French will ever do? They are the most enigmatic team.
They haven't been, though, in recent times. They've been...
No, but they still are. Like, in terms of their performance, you don't know whether... Like, it used to be, are we going to pump them by 40 points, or are they going to sneak a freaking 3-point win against us? But now, are they going to just scrape by in Italy, or are they going to absolutely destroy an English team who are playing for everything? It's in terms of those swingers there, but the talent is just so far higher than it has been in the past. Like this, for me, in my lifetime, is probably the best French team.
For sure.
Well, the only other one I can compare it to is the '94 team that they won it. They were the last team to win a Test series in New Zealand.
Right.
I remember that try that the last time. I remember them winning at Eden Park.
The Jonah game.
Yeah, the Jonas debut. And that try, I don't know who the player was.
Gazza was at that game, I think.
He got the incredible offload. He, like, 3 players, Stephen Basher, someone else was on him, and got this offload, and they just went absolutely apeshit. Last time we lost at Eden Park. Man, it'd be great to have the World Cup in New Zealand this year. But,
we'll probably never get it again.
You reckon? I reckon.
Too small. Well, maybe in conjunction with somebody else. Probably the Aussies. Oh, no, they've got it next, so...
They're not giving us anything?
No.
We're a terrible time zone as well.
Yeah.
I found those... Like, let's get back into the game in a second, but I'm taking a brief aside. May I take a brief aside?
You taking aside? Getting distracted?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you.
No, it doesn't. So, it's so brutal. These games are just on... Like, I've only ever done the wake up in the middle of the night thing for the All Blacks.
Yeah.
It's one game, I go back to bed.
Yeah.
Or I can do, like, it's fine, like...
Stay up real late,
manage it, you know. Yeah. But doing...
Game after game for 6 hours of rugby.
For week after week after week.
Yeah. And
games that I've been really interested in, but I'm definitely not as passionate or as invested in as an All Black game.
Well, for sure.
Like, I don't wake up going,
yeah, it's game day.
Yeah, like, then there's actually something really special about being a kid, or even whatever age you are, waking up watching the All Blacks.
For sure. That's just anyone's with your own team, right?
Yeah. But it's, so I'm sad it's over in a way, because it was just really good rugby to watch, but boy, am I thrilled about it too. Like, it's,
the time zone sucked for us.
It really does.
Literally the best kickoff time for us the whole tournament was Ireland against
England.
That's 6 o'clock in the morning.
And I still missed it.
Shocking.
I could have watched that one almost live.
Yeah.
But then I was like, if I watch that one, the rest of them are going to get spoiled. But I probably should have.
You probably should have. That was the big one.
Anyway, so, let's... Wales.
Yeah, good shift. They didn't drop their heads. They kept plugging at it. They could have done in England the week before, and just got hammered. But, they still conceded 40 points, but they scored 4 tries. They got a try bonus point. If you'd said before the game, you reckon they'll go into Paris and get 4 tries, you'd be like, No.
And they were down pretty heftily before they had the comeback. And I was watching it going, ooh, this is going to be another 40-point
pumping,
win.
yeah.
And I was like, but I don't know whether it was, they definitely turned up and played well. And the combination with the French going off the boil a touch made it a very, very interesting, fun watch, and also a game that the Welsh can go, okay, well, look, we had some shockers, we beat Italy, and we had a good performance against the French, so they can build from there, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But I still don't rate them as a threat at the World Cup.
I love the Antonio try, the big prop.
Yes.
Like, Lewis Rees-Zammit pretty much had time to tackle him twice because he's not the quickest mover, but he still could.
He's a giant.
He's a huge man.
He's
I think they said it was his first try in like 50 games. So
oh wow,
that's a heck of.
What is he, Kelston Boys? Is he Kelston Boys or is he De La Salle? Wesley
College.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But no, nice to see him propping up an All Blacks game.
I love it. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh well, no, he was good, and I thought that
Dante was big, and like you said, Intermark and Dupont just stupid
just
stuff
the way
every
they
game.
were, all those tries where they were just able to do everything at such a high level and manipulate the defenses in a way that the gaps were just so obvious in there, and a couple of the tries they were just them going out the wing, and basically they just did it so precisely with so much speed, squaring up the defenders, waiting for the inside shoulder to go, and just spinning the ball, and it was just like
almost effortless, eh?
Yeah, just simple stuff, just done
really well,
and purely. It was really, really good. But they're a threat. World Cup opening game.
World Cup favourites?
No. Well, yes. If the best, if the best French team turn up, they win.
Okay.
If the best team, if they bring that an 80-minute performance, they win the game. I just don't think they will bring an 80-minute performance to every single knockout game. So if they're off the boil
in one game,
they can be out. But they're gonna. But they could also still scrape a win even if they're off the boil. World Cup final. Who are they? I haven't even looked at what the permutations are.
We'll have a good gander at it at some point. The other game was Scotland against Italy. That one I also didn't watch live. I was spoiled to that one because that wasn't on 1:30, and I
wasn't spoiled to it.
I was like, I'm not doing 1:30. I'll do 3 o'clock. I slept through this one. I got up for the next one.
Where's your commitment, bro?
I'm an old man. I got kids.
I've got
young children.
I watched them with my finger on the fast forward button.
Okay.
So I was just like, anytime there was like slow ruck ball, I was like, okay, we can skip 10 seconds.
Yeah, setting for a scrum, setting for a line out.
And actually, the game actually goes way quicker.
Yeah, it does.
But that was a really, really entertaining game. And the scoreline,
26-14. That last try just makes it look like
flatters.
See, that's the thing. I knew it was 26-14. But I didn't know kind of the timings of the score. So, Italy were right in there.
Absolutely. With 20 seconds ago, they got a penalty on their own line. Yeah. They could have very easily got up and won that game. I think that was Scotland's worst performance of the whole Six Nations.
Well, they didn't have Hogg and they didn't have Russell.
Kinghorn played well.
He's all right, but he's no Finn Russell.
Did he get a?
He got a hat trick of tries. He's a great finisher.
Why am I so bad with the English language? I was about to say he got a trilogy. Can we call that now a trilogy?
A trilogy.
Hey, and really exciting news. I've got a new my first nomination for best shit team in the world for the 2CGD for the end of the year, which is one of the more prestigious categories that we have. Last year's winner was the Wallabies, best shit team in the world.
Yeah.
Best shit team in the world. Current nominated finalists right now. I'm definitely putting Italy in that. Best shit team in the world. In terms of the improvements they've made.
Didn't win a game, got 1 bonus point the whole tournament.
They deserve to win somehow. I feel like they... Oh, look, I didn't actually watch last year. But from what I've heard and how I feel, which, my feelings matter, they played better in this tournament than they did last year.
Well, I saw one post on social media which showed that Italy's points difference this Six Nations, despite not getting a win, is actually better than their performances for... God knows how long. It was years.
All right.
And I think it's like their 3rd best overall or something. So despite they didn't get any wins, they only got 1 losing bonus point. Overall, I think they took a step closer to all the other teams they play with in that competition. So Some pleasing stuff, and especially with an average age of like 26.
This could be yours, Italy.
Yeah, keep it up. Knock out the All Blacks in the pool stages of the World Cup.
You're not going to win best shit team in the world if you do that.
We can win that. Yay, Fozzie. We'll have him on the show.
Yeah, he's dying to get on. He's always DMing me. He's always deep in my DMs.
Yeah. Did you see Duhan's first try?
Oh, I listen. You know, I don't actually watch your content. I listen to your content when I'm driving.
Yeah.
And you described him in a weird way that I never thought I'd ever hear anyone describe him. Okay. He made your team of the week or your 5 players or whatever you have. Yeah. And you called him dainty.
Yeah.
I was like, he's like, that's not like he's light on his feet.
Okay.
And he is
he's very nimble for such a huge human.
Yeah, dainty. I guess it's technically correct. It's like that red car. He's dainty. Yeah,
he's got incredible control for a guy.
Little dancing toes.
I mean, do you remember that first try he got? Was it against England where he was just kind of swerving?
Dainty.
Remember, he was swerving.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem like he should be able to do that stuff.
He's like a bumblebee.
Basically. He should just go straight.
What happened with the other beers? We've got a huge problem here, guys.
Technical difficulties.
Alright, I'll just go get some. Alright, you talk about how he's dating.
This one.
Oh, there we go. Where's your one then?
That's my one. I don't know where yours is.
Sorry.
Professional content.
It is.
Professional beer drinker.
Exactly. We make about $30 a pop on these.
What were we talking about? Dainty Duhan.
He's not just dainty though. He is dynamite.
Yeah.
He is so gonna do it fucking good. He is a great player who was exciting to see him do a little bit of passing.
Yeah. He passed 6 times in that game compared to 0 the week before.
That great finish that was straight out of the NRL. He did really. He was pretty good just to keep his feet up in the air there.
Great
just
finish.
His ability to beat a man.
That's incredible.
Exactly. He also passes defenders really well too. You're not going to bite on that. He's something special, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good player.
And who is his brother? He's got a brother, right?
Aka.
And his brother
the warthog.
And his brother is like the complete opposite.
He's a hooker. But he loves scoring a try. He's a really dynamic ball carrying hooker. Yeah. He's played, I think, once for the Springboks.
Right, so he's probably not going to be in the picture for the World Cup. Okay.
He's probably past his 3-year thing, but I don't think he's eligible for anyone else because you can't do residency for any second team you play for.
Yeah, right.
You have to have a more genuine connection.
Righto. Well, that were all the games. What anything else you want to say about?
I mean, Italy played well. Like you said, they played well, but they had a decent tournament. They're gonna feel bad that they didn't get any wins, but.
And I feel like how they've dropped in the ratings is pretty unfair as well.
Yeah, that is one of the quirks of the rating. You don't get anything for a narrow loss. You get punished.
Yeah, against some of the world's best. Like a narrow loss against the second best team in the world, you should
get something, but no, you only get punished.
Fix the algo, guys.
Yeah. So no, I think the only thing with the Italians at the moment is they still seem a little bit immature in that like they keep trying to score now. Sometimes you just need a little bit more patience. I think they'll get that as time goes by. Like especially in that Wales game.
Is that the exuberance of youth?
I think so.
Yeah, that Wales game where they made all those breaks, but just
couldn't finish
on shitting the bed.
I should say Scotland's defence in that game was phenomenal. Like
Ramos scored that lovely little try with the little dainty kick through. Was it Ramos? No, Ramos was the Frenchman. Allen, Thomas Allen.
Galbisi's kick through. Yeah, but that was one of the weird things. Like I think prior to that game against Scotland, Italy every game breaks a ton of tackles. Like. More than 10, like 15 or something. A lot of tackles. They got 9 against Scotland. Like Scotland's defence, genuinely across the whole Six Nations, has been pretty good. Yeah, so there's still encouraging signs there for Scotland, even though they still seem like Scotland only lost to Ireland and France. So you can't be too down on yourselves. They finished third. It's their best Six Nations finish in quite a while. So,
and I would be nervous if I was South Africa. Like if I was in a
what have you got against South Africa?
I'm not saying. Tony? I'm not saying if I was South Africa.
Did you have an ex-South African girlfriend who broke your heart? What have you got against the Springboks?
Don't think I have ever had any sort of relations with it. Oh no, I've had friends who are South African, absolutely, but I don't think I've ever.
Sure, you have.
I have, but like I don't know. I never had a girlfriend who was a South African.
Me neither.
But it's something we've got in common. Finally, we found something. But no, it's not the fact that it's because I don't rate the South Africans. They're an incredible team. Pool. They just got an incredibly tough pool. Like I'm just saying, if I was in that pool with Ireland and Scotland, who I think have this incredible pool of talent that are emerging and are finding an amazing amount of confidence, and I think they have a world-changing upset in them somewhere, which could come out
against anyone.
Yeah, that would make me nervous.
True.
So, I think if
rather you than us, basically, South Africa, we quite happily sit in Pool A with France and Italy.
Yeah. Like
we'd rather be in Pool C or Pool D, to be honest.
Yeah,
just quietly.
The side of the draw isn't great. It really isn't great. I'd really much rather
be on the other side of the draw.
But it is what it is. But I think. It's going to make the start of the tournament immediately exciting.
True. There's no... There's...
It feels a bit more like the Football World Cup where it's like every pool game
is important.
Yeah. It means something in the whole
just so you know, the time zones suck for the World Cup as well.
Oh, yeah. I have thought about that. It's going to be brutal, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of kind of midnight kickoffs, 3 a.m. Some of them are not too bad because France likes a few late kickoffs. So
how are we going to do it?
I don't know. Take annual leave from your job. That's what I did the last World Cup. I literally took a month of annual leave.
I can't. It's my busy period. Oh no, when does it start? September?
Yeah. Just before your busy period. Take some annual leave. Save your annual leave up.
I'm going to Malaysia for a couple of weeks. Can I throw you under the bus?
Do it.
Can I throw you under the bus about your Chinese stuff?
Go on.
Oh, so Mark, right? Okay, Mark, 2 cents rugby. Won't be just 2 cents rugby. He's going to be 2 cents Asia. What's going to be? We don't know what the title's going to be, but I'm very excited about it. Tell them a little bit about the upcoming project that there's going to be a new account started. There's not going to be 2 cents rugby.
Basically.
Here we go. This is the grand announcement.
Next month, I'm going to China for a month.
Next month, I'm going to Malaysia, but I'm not going to be filming anything.
Okay. So I'm going to be there for a month. I'm probably not going to do a heck of a lot of rugby content. I'm going to preload some rugby content to...
the podcast may be off for a couple of weeks.
Maybe. I'll miss you if that's the case. Maybe we can connect on StreamYard or something.
Maybe. My loins will yearn for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm going to be in China for a month, so I figure I must take some video. I speak some Chinese.
Yeah. Ni hao.
And there's some sites that I would like to see around where I'm going in China, so I'm going to go take a wee look around, maybe eat some crazy food and...
meet some crazy people.
Hopefully meet some crazy people, and I'm going to be taking video of it. And I don't want to put it on a rugby channel because that would be a little bit off-putting. So
I don't know if off-putting's the right word, but inappropriate. Okay. Like, not inappropriate in like, this is inappropriate, but like inappropriate in a way that like this is not rugby content.
Yes, basically. Yeah. So I'm probably going to start a new channel.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Put some videos on there. Like I don't know where.
So if you're a fan of like the likes of Bald and Bankrupt or anyone else who goes out there and channels.
There's a few channels I like. I like Bald and Bankrupt. I like Sabbatical. There's a few of these channels who just they walk around, go to crazy places, and just talk to people. That's what I kind of want to do.
100%. And like Mark has like, if you've never seen Mark in the wild, he's the giant. Well, not a giant. What are you? 6'9", 6'11"?
Not quite Ryan Beard level.
But you're going to be interacting with these Chinese people, speaking their language, and they're going to be reacting to you, and you're going to be getting along well with them, and you're going to get yourself into some weird, interesting spots. Wouldn't you love to see that? Hopefully. Him away from the whiteboard. And,
whiteboard.
You should carry the whiteboard
I do have a whiteboard in China from the last time I was in China 5 years ago, so I could just carry a whiteboard around with me, but probably not.
In the comments below, say some words of encouragement for Mark, and say
you'll subscribe. If I go to China, what would you want me to do? Like,
just go in there and get into some weird spots.
Okay.
Anything I can do to help you out, man, without actually doing anything. I'm here for you, okay, man?
Nice. Yes. That's the plan.
Anyway, we'll talk about that some more. But is there anything else? What are you going to call it?
2 cents abroad.
2 cents abroad. Massive cock in Asia.
Tall Kiwi guy walks around and eats stuff. Yeah, catchy.
Tall Asian guy walks around and eats stuff.
Tall Asian guy.
Sorry.
Kiwi.
Tall Kiwi guy walks around.
I have no idea.
I love that.
I'm not a big planner of stuff. Like,
you need to plan this.
I don't plan very well.
My
plan is literally take my camera and go places.
Do you guys think I should like 2 cents? No, like Distracted Sports edit it and like just have like your head coming out of people's crotches and stuff like that, and give it a bit of Distracted Sports. No, I'm not gonna do it.
I might actually have to edit videos if I do this.
No, that's gonna be hard.
Awful.
You're gonna have to develop a new skill.
No one takes.
Yeah. The king of the one take.
Gonna suck.
Well, no,
anyway,
I'm really looking.
I'm
really looking forward to it. That's gonna be great, man. But anyway, let's get on to the old super rugby Peter round.
I mean, the big game for us was the Blues.
You're not gonna bite on
that.
You're not gonna bite on that.
The kids round. They had a few afternoon games to get the kids at the grounds. Woo-hoo. None of the games seemed that well attended, except for the Blues and the Crusaders.
Yeah, depressingly attended.
Because, I mean, admittedly, with Super Rugby, you do have teams playing teams from another country. So there's not going to be that many away fans. Yeah. But then again, I look at the URC, and they get heaps of, like, the Munster fans travel like crazy. But you had the Waratahs visiting the Hurricanes.
Can you test me? I don't think I know all the results. You test me, I'll tell you.
So Hurricanes played the Waratahs.
The Hurricanes got up.
The Rebels played the Chiefs in Hamilton.
The Chiefs won that one.
The Brumbies played Moana Pacifica in Canberra.
There was a tight one, but the Brumbies got up.
That one was 62-36.
But the Brumbies got up.
The Brumbies
you and I have a different interpretation of tight. It was the Druid that was the tight one.
The Reds and the Druid.
Yeah, that was the tight one. Shit. Yeah, the Druid just narrowly went down.
27-24. The Highlanders hosted the Force in Invercargill.
I don't know. Hold on. That's a tricky bitch because the Highlanders have been playing really badly. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it to them though.
They won 43-35.
Oh, thank goodness for them.
Yeah, and the Blues were the only home team to lose.
Can I tell you one of my...
34-28 to the Crusaders. That was the best of 24,000 people.
Before we get into that, can I give a shout out to a very, very nice but small but lovely channel?
Rian Lowe for a change?
Not Rian.
Hey, Rian!
Yeah, there. Subscribe. There's going to 1 million followers, everybody. Amelia Kaiser. Was it probably a name you've never heard before? Nope. She was a fan of the Kiwi lads. I've seen her in the comment, and Hamish, and she was like, I want to do a live stream, but I've never done it. And she started doing the live streams. I think she's got 37 subscribers or anything like that. But I went into one of her live streams, I think, and like I think when she first did, I was like, you can do it, it's gonna be fine, all that sort of trying to say some encouraging stuff, and she was really, really lovely. But I watched her like part of the game watching. She's a massive Rebels fan, like kid it out, like, and it's amazing to see a young lady who is out and out like balls to the wall, a Rebels fan who have got about 6 fans all up.
If you guys don't watch the Rebels games, they're generally not that well attended, and they don't have the great. They've never made the Super Rugby playoffs in about 10 years. I
wanted to actually play some of her content in here, but she takes it down as soon as the live stream. She doesn't actually publish it. Okay. But she was so incredibly passionate. When the Chiefs would score, she'd be like, "For fuck's sake, these fucking assholes! What the fuck is going on? They can't fucking do shit. Me dead. Fuck.
Very Australian.
Like going off. It was like, I don't know. She looks all 15, 14 or something like that.
Oh, nice.
And then like when like they were down like by 20 points or something by that stage, and the Rebels were scoring, she'd be like, "Yes, that's my team. That's my club." And she was just like going off and getting into it. And I was like, I commented, and I was like, "This is the greatest live stream I've ever seen." Oh. So I was like. I told her that, and like nobody's ever done this for me before, and I didn't know I was ready for this sort of responsibility. She made me a mod on her channel, nice. I don't know what. And then there was someone spamming, saying some crappy stuff, and it was on me to like
get in there, Tony.
I was like, I don't want that responsibility. Please don't make me a mod on your channel. I don't want that, but like for her, I'll do it. Okay. So.
That's awesome.
Corners of YouTube, Amelia Kaiser, 37 subscribers. Let's get her to 100 by this time next week.
Nice. We're a big Rebels fan.
Yeah.
They actually played pretty well on their loss to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a good team. Yeah. They had a heap of like line breaks. Like, you look at the stats of that game looked pretty even, but the Chiefs just finished their chances, the Rebels not so much.
Yeah.
But I mean, Blues and Crusaders. Like...
You can't, like, of all the games in the weekend, that's one that matters the most to me. Like, even, Six Nations big thing, but that hits hard, that Crusader Blues thing, that goes right to the core. I was wrecked after that game. And you know what revived me? The Warriors.
Oh, God.
The Warriors got a win against one of the heavyweights.
North Queensland.
2 from 3. It's our year, team. It's our year. Up the
Rugby League.
Rugby League. But no, that really, really stung. I want to ask you a bloody question. A bloody question, because I'm pissed off about it. Do you think it's right, because you've had a number of injuries in the front row, that you have to go to uncontested scrums? Like, getting an injury, you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah. You're just being hurt in a contact sport. And getting an injury and you have to go to uncontested scrums, being punished for that seems, pardon me, it seems dramatically unfair. Like, I was like, I didn't realise that was a thing until... So, explain the context of what actually happened.
The Blues had their first... was it prop or hooker? Prop. Yeah. It was one of the props got injured. And then the replacement prop got yellow carded. So we had to go down to 13 men.
No, it was like 2 front rows had already been injured before that. And like, they had to So we couldn't pack a scrum safely. So, and then when that happens...
We go down to 13 men. The reason they did that is because teams used to take the piss with it. If teams were getting dominated at scrum time, they would say, "Oh, prop's injured. We can't play anymore." So that's the reason that law exists.
So we went and it was a crappy red card, yellow card. It was like a team red card.
Yeah, but and it goes to a prop who's a replacement prop.
And we got punished for 10 minutes having 13 players on the field, which is...
Yeah, they're probably
pretty crap.
They literally did it because there's a couple of games where teams would pretend their props were injured.
Yeah, right.
So that they wouldn't have to be getting hammered at scrum time.
I think that's a better scenario than what happened at the weekend. I thought it just felt...
Maybe you go down to 13 for the time there's a scrum, and next stoppage you can swap them back. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
To go back to 14.
Because there's such a massive disadvantage playing with 13 men.
Yeah, because for the whole time of the yellow card, you got to go down to 13. Which
and they got 2 tries during that period.
Sucks.
Didn't they?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it was absolute crap.
And then the Crusaders were infringing for days at the end.
Oh, I know. That was... Okay.
Cynical bastards.
We are
totally Blues fans.
We're going to be Blues fans. It's...
Jeez, man.
Sheep shagging black
Christie
and red.
Was killing the ball, and then Heem had his knee on the ground, and they still pinged him.
Well, yeah, Heem actually came on and played really well. Played better than RTS, just quietly. And he had his knee on the ground there, and he was like,
"Oh, the ball's still up."
And how many... Like, we were the ones who had 13 men
we did blow a couple of chances.
Yeah, well, we dropped the ball over the line. Yeah, that was a pretty impressive defence. But I felt like we were the better team. Felt like we had... we were the better team in terms of attacking threats and more dynamic play and more champagne rugby. But in terms of, what was really depressing, there was that one time that we went for a drive scrum, the drive try. What would you call it? A line out ball. Yeah, I know rugby. And then we just got absolutely pillaged. Like, not having Paddy Two Pipes. That's a real that's real hurt. Not having him there. Yeah, we don't have a great type.
That result burned.
It really stung.
I fucking hated that result.
Yeah, it really burned the butthole, didn't it?
Yeah, that was bad. I was angry after that one. I was like, "Oh, we were robbed!" And then I was like, Gazza sent me messages like, "All right, Gazza's going to be on my page," and he was like, "Well, son, we missed some chances." And I was like, "Oh, if Gazza is keeping it more moderate than I am, then maybe I'm overreacting."
I was freaking 3 beers, half a bottle of wine deep downstairs, and I celebrated. I should have someone around more often rather than just drinking by myself. But I celebrated way too hard every time we got those fake tries. I was slamming things like, come on. It means so much to beat those smarmy bastards. Like, they hate us, we hate them.
Yeah.
But
then we lost.
We lost!
At least we had a good crowd. All the other crowds are pretty average.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one thing that... Super Rugby feels like it's in dire straits at the moment, doesn't it? Not the band, but the situation. Like, in terms of the interest, like, I don't know what the TV ratings are, but just going off the crowd size and also the metrics that we can... I don't make any Super Rugby content because I just don't have time, but the metrics from online in terms of people like yourselves and other content creators making about Super Rugby, the numbers are just not there. The interest doesn't feel like it's there. And I think that for me, it doesn't feel like the product is that bad.
The on-the-field product is great.
But sales and marketing, motherfucker. Like, you've actually got to sell this product. You've actually, like, not having South Africa there, obviously it's a big market. The biggest market that we had gone. But in terms of working with the market that you actually have, we are just so far up our own asses about the spirit of rugby, the great values of rugby, you know, just focusing on just the humdrum sort of crap, or who's gonna make the All Blacks this year, who's your Form 15, all that sort of stuff. That's great, it's fantastic, whatever. But sell the fight. Like, sell the rivalry, sell, like, the...
They don't do
like,
it. They steer away from it kind of actively. And I mean, just before we came on air, you showed me a clip of one of the NRL previews, and it was
the chooks and the bunnies.
It was properly just like, I don't know bugger all about league. I knew.
But you wanted to watch the game.
I knew both of those sides are from Sydney. And I know
crosstown neighbours. Yeah,
that's basically all I knew. But then, like, watching that clip makes me think, oh shit, that looks like
we're talking about a Fox League promo piece for the Sydney City Roosters and the the Roosters and the South Sydney Bunnies, which are very, like, in South Sydney you're either a Bunnies fan or you're a Rooster fan. So, like, they're in the same.
It's a big rivalry.
It's a massive rivalry. So they just put this awesome promo piece that actually focused, dare I say it, on the niggle.
Yeah, on the niggle, all the biffo between these two teams, you know, like previous results that have been close, all the games that have had sin binnings and whatnot.
Yeah.
They just made you want to watch it.
Yeah. Whereas, and that stuff...
That stuff exists between Blues and Crusaders. Like the Carlos, you know...
Stick it up your ass.
That's right. Like the Crusaders winning their first Super Rugby title against the Blues.
I've showed you that video I made on Carlos. Like...
That content exists, but... You wouldn't know it. Like,
we don't lean into it because it's almost like we somehow it's too sanctimonious or something. It's too righteous for it, and it's bad. Like, it feels worrying in terms of I want to go on a little bit of a New Zealand rugby rant. Like, NPC was such a huge deal when I was a kid. It was massive.
Yeah.
And then when it stopped being such a big deal, Super Rugby was giant.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was like test match intensity. Yeah. Now that's gone, and now
it's just the All Blacks that's left.
It's just the All Blacks that's left, and how long is it going to be before we lose enough?
We've already seen a few games where the All Blacks haven't sold out.
All Blacks Argentina doesn't always sell out, does it?
Yeah, and when we had that time when we had to play the Aussies twice in a row at Eden Park, the second game didn't sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's in
a bad place, man. Like you said, I remember going to Auckland against King Country at Eden Park with my old man when I was a kid. People everywhere.
Yeah.
Against King Country.
Grand Shield game?
I think so. Yeah. Well, back when the Auckland had that big shield run.
And Jim Bolger I remember that game. Jim Bolger is from the King Country. He was the Prime Minister at the time. There was a penis joke about him.
Okay.
Jim's got a bulger, but Mike's got more.
Okay,
Mike
More, the Labour man. Nice.
And he was like talking about how you want to King. And the King Country were never going to win that game.
No.
Like, they're
that Auckland team was phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, boy.
That Shield era.
So we're losing the passion in New Zealand. If you want to know a little insight into what's happening here, like
I had an interaction with one of my neighbours, which I think kind of summed it up pretty well. I bumped into him in the driveway, and like he knew who I was from YouTube.
Yeah.
Because he's house sitting one of my neighbours' houses, and he was like, "Oh, you're the 2 cents guy," and I was like, "Oh, that's me," and got to chatting, and we talked bollocks every now and again.
I think you're definitely got to go with the porn star line. No.
Okay. So I was talking to him. I was like, "Oh, you've been following, Super Rugby," and then he was just like, "Oh, you know what? I haven't seen any of the games, but I've watched all the highlights."
Yeah, right.
And he's like he's into his rugby. Like, if you've seen my channel, you're probably leaning more towards the
more of a hardcore.
Yeah, more of a hardcore fan. So the fact that guy has not seen any of the games, but he will still tune into the highlights, and the YouTube's highlights packages for Super Rugby do phenomenally well.
Yeah.
More than the URC, more than the Premiership, more than Top 14. Like, they get hundreds of thousands of views.
But no one's watching.
But the fan attendances aren't that great. I mean, I know we're hamstrung by the fact that we're playing in big stadiums, so that doesn't look that good. But yeah, the genuine interest doesn't seem to be there.
I know a lot of people that I know as rugby fans, like, I got a boys group with all my mates from school and stuff, and the first weekend of, or the second weekend or something, they're like, does anyone know that the Blues are playing? And I was like, oh, are they? All right. And these guys are like big rugby fans, rugby fans their entire lives and stuff like that. And like just even my brother, like I talked to my older brother, he's a massive rugby guy, played rugby to a relatively high level, and he's like, oh, I haven't watched any of it. So you know, it's somehow just got swept aside, you know, and for in terms of, you know, people, foreigners, when they refer to rugby in New Zealand, they're like, it's like a religion there. You know, they talk about how seriously we take it, how you can bump into the person at the dairy and they're going to tell you all about the games.
Who they think's the best 15.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to get in your face about all that sort of stuff. But I don't quite think it was like that. But in terms of the strength of the All Blacks, I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe the strength of the All Blacks comes from the passion for rugby in New Zealand. The fact that before you want to be anything else in the entire world, you want to be an All Black. Like, the first thing you think about, you know, like, is getting a rugby ball in your hand and being John Kerwin. You know, like, and I don't think that's the case anymore. So for me, in terms of where the wind is blowing, it's blowing in a direction of dog shit. You know, for New Zealand rugby, but maybe we're just being overly pessimistic, and the talent will continue to be there. We have an incredible melting pot of Pacifica, Māori, and New Zealand European Pakeha talent that play the game. That's kind of the special sauce that makes it all work.
Maybe we're just being pessimistic because we're still kind of at the tail end of cricket season over here. So maybe once the season gets to the more business end, we'll see things pick up.
I have no doubt that when the World Cup is on, it's going to be...
World Cup it'll be
the front page.
It's just a different story.
Even when the All Blacks start to play, like the biggest story this year has been that Fozzie has been throwing his toys.
Yeah, sure.
And that's because it's about the World Cup, you know. So when the World Cup actually comes around, when
Super Rugby needs some love.
When TRC comes around, it's going, it does need some love because it's real quality, entertaining fun.
Yeah, the product on the field doesn't have a problem.
Like, it's tactically different to what you're going to see in the Six Nations. Yeah, like it's, you know, like they. Sometimes I can kind of see why the people in the Northern Hemisphere are like, it's just. Defense is optional, all that sort of shit. But it's like it's breeding.
There's some magic stuff on display.
Yeah. Oh. So okay. Now beside that, but can we just talk about how great my North Harbour players are? Shooter McGavin, Mark Talia, the two form outside backs of Super Rugby right now. You know who I'm worried about though? Caleb Clark is not cutting the mustard for my sandwich. You know, is he cutting the mustard for yours?
He's a big unit.
He's not a prop though.
True.
Yeah. How good is but Talia needs to work on his defense a little bit.
Yeah, he missed a few tackles. I mean, he made a bunch, but he missed a few.
He breaks more than he misses, I think. Yeah. Anyway, what else?
Nola won.
Oh, okay. This is when he walked in. I was like, "What the is this nonsense?" Okay, let's think.
MLR, Major League Rugby.
Those MLR jerseys. This one is last week. They just look like football jerseys to me. Someone should be playing soccer.
Nola Gold. They played Utah.
Why is there like a faded one on that? See,
because like it's the one that turns inside out.
Oh, come on, strip down for us. Give it the inside out.
You know.
Take it off. They
won. They beat the Utah Warriors.
How are my handshakes going?
They won. They beat New York at the weekend. So.
Do you know all the results?
I know those two.
Okay, so they beat New York.
They beat New York, the reigning champions.
Is Nehi still playing?
No.
He's gone. Where's he play? Is he retired?
I don't know.
He's somewhere. Good on you, Nehi, if you're watching. You were great. All right. Well, I had a bit of a rant there at the end.
That's okay. But next week, there's no internationals on.
What are we gonna talk about?
I don't know.
You got any suggestions?
The Irk.
Do I have to watch the Irk games in the middle of the night?
I tend to watch the ones on in the morning.
Okay.
Like there's a few on the 6 or 7 in the morning, like the evening games from Europe.
6.
Bro, come on! You got a kid?
Yeah, but like, you know what I do? She comes out and she puts TV on. I lie just there and I sleep for about an hour and a half while she just watches some absolute trash on the TV.
Put the URC on.
But she'll
put it on your phone.
I'll fall asleep. Because when you're just not invested, or you're just like
pick a team.
Munster.
Okay, watch Munster.
What if the Munster are on at 1? I'm not going to watch.
They usually play in the evening.
Okay, I'll watch, and I will watch every single highlights package of every game.
Can I just say the USC highlights packages suck balls?
I can't wait.
They're like 3 minutes long.
Can't wait to watch that sweaty, sucky bullshit.
Like Super Rugby does really good highlights packages. They're uploaded fast. They're long enough to get the key events of the game in.
Sky does good ones. They do like a normal package and an extended package.
Yeah. USC's ones are crap.
Come on, Urk.
You guys suck with your highlights. That's rubbish. Up your game,
I'll
USC.
give you some more feedback around.
I like everything else about the USC, but this highlights suck.
Okay, if you've got any ideas for what we can make next week's episode about, rather than my reaction to the highlights package, or can I put a little promo? I'm thinking about doing a weird video next that's not about rugby.
You put up a poll. It was like, should I talk about other stuff? And everyone was like, no, talk about rugby.
Yeah, that was right. But I am making my weird video. But in the comments, a lot of people were like, I think you would do interesting stuff about little sports. But this isn't actually that much of a little sport. It's very much, I love my YouTube cliches. I really do. So I was going to do...
Top 10 list.
No, top 10 list.
Top 10 other sports apart from rugby. Rugby league.
Rugby league. UFC
cricket.
And then I'll be like, the rest of them. Alright. No, what I'm going to do is a dirty old cliche. And if I haven't done it, it's because I decided not to, but I think I'm going to. It's a hurling reaction video. I'm going to watch some hurling. Yes. I've never watched hurling ever.
I've never watched hurling ever. I've seen a little bit of Gaelic football.
What did you call me?
Yes.
You've watched a lot. Yeah, isn't Gaelic football quite similar to AFL?
It's the most similar sport to AFL.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I know a little bit about AFL.
Right.
But I don't know anything about
it's
hurling.
Amateur. Well, I don't know what hurling is as well, but...
Can you say that again exactly the way you just said that?
I cannot.
It's amateur.
Well, just those guys, it's like rugby.
I felt like you were giving me a...
No, it's like rugby used to be, like back in the good old days.
I know, but I felt like you were giving me a review of my channel. Like, be like, tell someone...
Did you watch the Formula 1?
No, I didn't.
Red Bull 1
Red Bull
and 2.
And Visbatin or whatever. No,
he came second.
And he wasn't happy. He wasn't celebrating, was he?
Well, he came second. He started 15th on the grid because he had like a drive shaft go haywire in the qualifying.
I hate it when my shaft goes haywire.
Red Bull just looking too quick for everybody else.
Yeah. Wasn't it meant to be
my first season back into Formula 1 and Red Bull have just won both races, 1 and 2.
How's Ferrari doing this year?
Pretty average.
Yeah, shithouse.
One of the drivers at one point during the race was like, I don't know what to do if we're just this slow.
I like Ferrari and I like McLaren.
McLaren are doing god awful.
Oh, bugger.
Yeah.
McLaren started by a Kiwi.
Bruce.
Yeah.
There's Bruce McLaren Primary School, I think.
There is.
There's also a Bruce,
McLaren
like little park, and it's got a little car.
I almost gave away what I do for a job when I was about to say that, but I don't want to do that.
Get doxed.
Yeah, don't want to do that. Yeah, but hey, look. This has been a podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Where could they listen, Mark? You've got them all down now.
Spotify.
Yes.
Apple Podcasts. Boom. Google Podcasts.
Snap.
Stitcher. iHeartRadio.
Yeah. All of them.
Potentially some others.
We're basically, anywhere you get your podcasts, I think you're going to find us.
Yeah. That's the line.
Yeah. Essentially, you put it into this thing, and then it distributes it everywhere.
It's called easy. 2 Cents Gets Distracted.
A rugby podcast, which it's in really fine print under there. You can't see it.
Yeah. This one's going up on my channel, but next week's one will be up on Tony's channel.
Well, no one's going to watch
Distracted Sports.
No one's going to watch that one.
10,000 people watched the last one on your channel, so...
Yeah, no, but like that was because a massive thing in rugby happened.
Right.
And then when it's just like...
some Super Rugby.
Our saddest episode we ever made
was women's rugby.
But we were so excited about it. And if you want an episode with some great bands... I think we had good bands in that one.
The women's rugby.
Yeah. And then we can have an episode where it's really lackluster, but we just... Something big happens, and then people watch it. You know?
Such is life.
Such is life. But look, we do thank you very much for watching this. We appreciate your time. If you're listening to us in your car, we appreciate it. If you're listening to us in your car with your children in the back seat, and now they're saying, "Fuck me, Dad, who are these cunts?" We apologise about that.
Don't run red lights. A guy ran a red light on the way here. Just wait. It's only an extra minute. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And what if someone really needs to pee?
Just pull over and find a place to take a slash.
So there's not that many places you can take a slash on a motorway.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Find a bottle in your car somewhere.
Oh, have you ever done that? The old bottle-o?
Not in the car.
Or not in the car?
No.
If you don't know, where were you that you needed to do a bottle?
I was playing an online game of Texas Hold'em poker and didn't want to get up to leave the computer.
You're a filthy bitch.
Yeah, I know. I was only in my 20s. I had made mistakes in my 20s, folks. I was young and stupid.
I was perfect. I was very close to becoming a priest. That's close.
I feel like your Pinocchio nose is just about to get in the way of the camera.
There we go. All right. Good stuff, Mark.
Good to see you, chap.
And 2 cents goes abroad. Boy, oh boy, we're very excited about it.
If you want to hear me speaking Chinese,
we're going to be f***ing...
I'll be a good test in my Chinese. I haven't been to China for 5 years.
We're going to promo it every week on this channel. You're promoting that as much as you're promoting the podcast.
I promote the podcast every now and again.
You haven't for ages. I've watched a few.
I did it at least last week. Pretty sure.
But by the way, you can find the full transcript of this podcast on Planet Rugby. If you
Planet Rugby. Good website.
Good website. Pretty shoddy writers.
Me on there, maybe.
Alright, no, I'm sure there's some good content. I made a comment on it, didn't I? It was very
genuine, heartfelt.
Alright, anyway.
Take care, everybody.
Hi-da.